Good evening, folks. Welcome to the episode. Welcome to the infamous world of Zyacocousins review. And I'm gonna talk about this show called The Assassination of Gianni Versace. Now, to be honest, to tell you the truth, I haven't even heard of that man before until I found out about him on the show. And my mom even told me about the clothes they sell at Neiman Marcus. So I want to talk about this show. And the first episode I'm gonna start off with is the man who would be Vogue. Now the story starts off in July 15th, 1997, and I was in Miami Beach, Florida. I was 13 years old when that's when this story takes place. It shows two lives of Gianni Versace and Andrew Cunanan. Gianni lays in the bed looking at the ceiling of the clouds. He gets up out of bed. As Gianni walked around the house, that house gave me life. First off, he got on some cool house shoes that has his symbol on it. The Medusa's head with snakes. That was pretty cool. And he told me, and he explained the symbol too. I'll explain that in a few. He had a huge walk-in closet, and he has his own personal balcony. He even have couches in the hallway where you could chill anywhere. I mean, that was pretty cool. Meanwhile, Andrew Cunanan sits at the beach feeling somewhat depressed, which I personally think he's feeling sorry for himself. So he's feeling depressed and lonely. The sand is full of plants, which is unusual. He pulls out a book called The Man That Would Have Been Vogue. I'm going to show you this book right here. I'm going to show you this book. This thing is slow. So that big ass book called The Vogue and I checked it out on Amazon, and it costs $400. You know what? This thing is so slow. I'm gonna check it out here. This is a book, y'all. I found it on Amazon, and it was almost $500. And it's a thick ass book, and it's an old book. That's the book that his dead friend gave him. The dead friend, the friend that he killed. Jeff gave it to him. It's like an old book cover that was the picture that looked like the 1920s. That book was written in 1982 by Caroline Seldon. Then it pulls out Seldon, and it was probably modified or something. He then pulls out his gun that he stole from Jeff's trail. Jeff didn't give him the gun. He stole it. At first I didn't know what he was planning on doing with that gun yet. He quickly pulls everything back in the bag, got up, walked in the water, started screaming like a kid. grown-ass 27-year-old man screaming like a little spoiled brat that he is. Then it cut back to Gianni taking his pills and walking outside, telling everybody good morning. Very polite man. Very nice. He grabs an orange juice from a butler. I get a feeling he's gonna have breakfast outdoors. Andy, on the other hand, left the beach and was drinking soda early in the fucking morning, which is probably why he ran into the bathroom and threw up. That's just my opinion. I'm not trying to predict it. Then there was a written on the wall that says filthy whatever. I can't say what it really says. Probably some asshole that wrote the shit. Drunk as hell. Johnny gets ready to go out. Tony's about to play tennis with some other guy, Lorenzo. Johnny grabbed his keys. Soon as he walked out the door, a couple of people asked him for an autograph. He's like, not today. I don't get how people can ask some celebrity for an autograph at a Sunday, which probably is Sunday morning. I don't get that. Johnny greets people and starting to get magazines from the news cafe right down the street. When Andy sees Johnny about to go back to his house, quickly pulls out the gun and run up on him. This Andy dude got some serious problem. Before Johnny walked inside, he heard a click. Andy wind up shooting him and killing him. Then it back to October 1990 in San Francisco. Then it went to Andy sneaking up in a couple bedroom. Sneak into the bedroom of her friend Lizzie and her husband. The dude is touching himself. Now, if the husband woke up and see that shit, he would probably kick his ass right now. You don't fondle yourself in front of a married man. And your friend Lizzie wouldn't tolerate that shit either. So, I'm not homophobic, I'm just saying, that shit is inappropriate. Lizzie woke up. Andy so quick to stand up and say, guess who I met? Lizzie was so excited for him but the husband, not too comfortable. Andy revealed that he met Gianni Versace. He was talking about last night when he met a friend to go see GV. At first, he's walking down the stairs like, oh man, what is the point? Why am I even coming out here? Then, and he went to the club. He felt like it don't even look like he felt like going. It really didn't. He met up with a friend and started dancing through the crowd. Then went up to the VIP where they first met Gianni Versace. Andy approached him as if he would go and asked if he would go to the opera. Gianni was like, do I know you? Because they never met before. Andy claimed he met him at Lago di Como, which G don't even remember seeing him there before. Then he went back. Lago di Como was some garden party that was happening. Andy said, it was flattering that you remember. That lie about Andy never approached no celebrities. Yeah, sure. He approached him. He approached Gianni Versace. Andy interrupted again and said his parents from Italy. Because his mother is Italian. His dad is like Philippine. Pino. He say his mother's parents from Italy, her grandparents, his grandparents on his mom's side from Scalacci. Is their family name? I think Scalacci is his family name. He said she said she felt a strong connection, but she never been there. I don't know how you felt a strong connection but never been there. I met my fiance's parents and they felt a strong connection in Mexico. I don't see how Andy's mom don't have a strong, never been in Italy. He felt touched and decided to talk more with Gianni. Gianni sent one of his friends to go get a drink, and he sent his friend to go get a drink, the same drink that Gianni is getting. So the grandparents of Andy was born in Palermo, and they moved to Ohio in 1928. Ohio, which I don't understand how they ended up in San Francisco. At the kitchen, Andy and Lizzie kept talking about Versace, and he had some interest about him instead of his clothes, because he made clothes for slut. Yet I looked on the website and there was nothing slutty about the clothes. They still selling Versace. I got glasses. I don't know if this is real or not, but I got glasses. You see the design? They're not expensive. I had my friend give it to me. So I looked at their website this year in 2018. They still selling Versace. Even on YouTube, on a YouTube app, they were selling Versace cologne. So there's nothing slutty about the product. The husband still don't seem comfortable with him staying at the house. Meanwhile, his college called USC Berkeley English faculty. Oh yeah. Andy has a friend. Actually, he majored in. I heard Andy majored in history and he dropped out a year ago. But he has a friend who was so concerned about him because he always make up stories about himself. Talking about he was half Jewish and shit. But he's not believing that Andy had a date with Versace, and I don't blame him. He make up a lot of stories about himself. On Mugshot, I see he was telling stories about how his parents was born. He had Jewish parents and all that stuff, and I'm like, where is he getting that story from? So the friend don't believe he got a date with Versace. He thought he was bragging about it. Andy, to be honest with you, Andrew was always confusing. It's like he don't even know what he wants to become, or trying to become. It's like Andy's constantly lying to people about what he's trying to persuade, you know. That friend cared about him because he wanted to help, and he had held his friend like this. Andy's thumb was like this. He can't even hold his hand, and you got Andy looking sideways like this, like I'm looking past the camera. This is how he looks at his friend. That's how he treats his friend, the friend that cares about him. I'm like, dude said he's nice, smart, and kind. I don't know if nice and kind are the same thing. Nice is agreeable and pleasing and delightful, and kind is friendly, generous, and considerate nature. Andy snatched his hand and says, "Really, I do have a date with Versace," and walked off. Let me see if that's still taping. Oh. Andy snatched his hand and said, "I really do have a date with Versace." I said that already. Back at the house in the room, Andy has several magazines all laid out on the floor. There were pictures of interiors of Versace's house. There were pictures of Versace all over the floor. Goes into his closet. He only has a few closets. I'm thinking to myself, do he even have a job to buy his own clothes? How you gonna walk in somebody else's closet and take somebody's clothes without asking? Gianni, on the other hand, was dressing an opera singer. She was getting ready for the show. I love those encouraging words and the confidence that he gave her. That was so nice of Gianni. He would have still lived a little bit longer. His mother, who was a dressmaker, he talks about his mother, the dressmaker. She owns a boutique in Calabria, located in South Italy. She works at her clients to study their face expressions when they're whether they're happy or not. Lizzie comes in the house and hears music playing. She walks up the stairs in the room and finds Andy in the closet trying on her husband's clothes. She was upset that Andy didn't ask, but yet she felt bad and let him borrow one of his suits. She even gave him a watch, girl. She even gave him a watch to make him look impressive. When the show ends, it's always some crap going on outside. When the show ends, Andrew battling on stage as usual. Versace, of course, comes to the stage where champagne, 2 glasses, they get to talking, and Andy tells a story about his life or some parts. I didn't even know Andy picked pineapples from the Philippines. I just heard he was living in the Philippines for a while, and he's like complaining that he's living in a bad condition. I never heard of Emeralda Marcos, the first lady of the Philippines. I didn't put it on the notes, but his father was a pilot, and he was taken and mailed her for a ride on the plane, and he was fly the plane so low because she's scared of heights. That was pretty cool. What was that you say? If you was flying at 400 miles per hour, it doesn't matter how high you were. That was well, some of Andy's stories he told was bullshit. Writing a book. Really? Andy's not writing a book. He ain't even making a movie. I'm like, really? And he claims he's creative. See, this is the problem I have with this dude. You always talking about you're creative, but yet you don't show no goddamn proof. He said he wants to call himself Andrew De Silva. He said he got the best education. That's bullshit too. He dropped out of college. Versace talks about his sister Donatella. He made the first dress for her. Ancient ruins. So he was talking about the ancient ruins at home. That's where you get that Medusa symbol from. He was at the ancient ruins. They were kids at the time, and he came up with this Medusa. He thought it was very interesting. He thought it was very like convincing. See, that's what Versace wants to do, is to convince the world that he has a love for life. Something like that. Versace don't make shoes. Then it's the end of their conversation, and it's back to Andy killing Versace, of course. And Tony, I asked, was in the bathroom when it happens. He heard gunshots. And he stares down at Gianni Versace until he stopped moving. He walks off. Then another steps out. Then a guy steps out and started chasing him, knowing he had a gun. Okay, first of all, that man was a dumbass for it, because why would you chase that man knowing he has a gun? Antonio came out with his fake ass crying. The man chases Andrew through the alley, and then he start pointing the gun at him. First of all, why would you want to chase a guy knowing he had a gun? Just call the police. Just call the police. All these people standing out there, police arrive at the scene. Andy ran in the parking lot into a stolen truck. Because that truck was stolen. He ain't bought the truck, he stole it. Said he sits there until he comes down. Next thing you know, he gets all excited. And when he was smiling and laughing and giggling and shit, that tells me he gets a kick out of murdering that guy. He gets this thrill, this rush out of murdering somebody. Detective Kings, that's where female officer tells him that's Gianni Versace. Tonio kept calling for the ambulance. When I saw the dude ran like a dumbass, I thought he was gonna call 911. That bastard ran in his car and grabbed the camera. And he pulled out his changing clothes. He's in the car pulling out his changing clothes and a gun. Versace was taken inside an ambulance. And I don't understand why Antonio don't go with him. He was standing with the staff. Even as one maid can't even hold her emotions. That's how bad that situation was. Police got a call from the dispatch about a suspect, and the police saw a different guy with a red shirt. That's probably Andy walking across the top of the parking lot. Gianni was rushing to the emergency room. Dude trying to break in one car got caught by the police, and they were on the chase. The doctors tried as hard as they get cut back and forth. The scene was cut back and forth. They was trying as hard as they can to get this man to the ER. The police and the guy was already at the parking lot, still running. One officer finally tackles the guy, puts his hand behind his back, and get this thing, put cuffs on him. I thought that was kind of crazy. I thought that was kind of stupid. Then he turns him over. He got the wrong guy. And he was still in the parking lot trying to get out. They got the nurses and doctors. Finally got Gianni to the ER. Now they're trying to save him. This one doctor he saw, he was watching him get rushed to the ER. The doctor that Gianni went to go see about his illness. And then while this asshole across the street from his house is running a street betting show, he took a picture of this guy so he can bet with this picture. He's making money off this dude's debt. And I applaud the camera people for walking past him. Because they ain't got time for this foolishness. They trying to get to some serious news. Come on now. So they got x-rays. Gianni got shot right here. There was an x-ray showing he got shot right here. But I saw him get shot have his cheeks all open like this. So how he get from here to here? I guess it went through his brain. I don't know. They did everything they could to save him with no luck. He died of a bullet wound. They covered his body. Andy walked out of the parking lot and into the cab. Antonio sits at the table looking pitiful. detective went in to talk to him. Then this customer who asked for an autograph, they can't get an autograph, so they decided to collect blood as an autograph. Andrew gets out of the cab, walked into some hotel in the city of Miami. Again, nobody knows where nobody knows who he is. They just look at him like a regular person. They've been doing that before he shot Versace. Goes to the bathroom, cleans himself, walk out the news, and sees the news at the bar. Gianni Versace getting shot, and he sees a woman cover his face. He does the same thing, trying to blend in. Okay, the next scene, it cuts to the officer checking the truck from the parking lot. This female officer was reading a stolen plate out of South Carolina. It's like she was reading it like she knows what it means. That was very clever. But I don't know how she can. So she reached the plate off the. She reached the plate off the truck. It didn't match the. They didn't get nothing because Andy must have switched license plates. Then they read the vehicle ID number. I didn't know cars have vehicle ID number. So they got the match. It was stolen. And the suspect is Andrew Cunanan. At the Washington, D.C. FBI Hoover building, they were discussing the case. Two FBI agents arrived at the office. Detective told the FBI about the pickup truck. Yep, that's Andrew Cunanan. Agent Mike Evans, what's his name? Been looking for him for several months. Now get this. They think he's in Fort Lauderdale. He was in Miami the whole time. Then they show Detective a bunch of flyers, which didn't get passed out. That's why when she was asking him, how many flyers has gone out? He can't even answer the question, because none of them has gone out. And Barreto did a press conference about Gianni Versace, all while Gianni's sister was on her way to the house. The nurses took out the bullet from Gianni's face, while the police presented an evidence of the bird getting shot. They took a bullet out of that too. Donatello's arrived at the house to see all the cameras and this yellow whipping, knowing across the thing, knowing something is wrong. Now, mind you, she's still allowed to enter to the house due to the fact that it is Gianni's sister, or that she got the key to the house. She went in the house, hugging the staff, the maids and the butler. There goes Detective interviewing the staff and Antonio about what Versace doing in his house, which has nothing to do with the guy in his house, and Antonio just answering the questions like an idiot. She walks in on them talking to the police. She continues to grow cold towards Antonio, and she was mad at Antonio for talking to the police about anything that's going on in her house, because that ain't nothing to do with why Andrew killed Versace. That has nothing to do with that. The man they slept with didn't even kill him. So she continues to ignore him while attending a business meeting. That Antonio dude remind me of this dude named Bryce from Temptations. The whole time I seen Antonio with Versace, he took him for granted. He really did. And when he died, you can't even go to the freaking emergency room with him, which tells me how weak and pathetic that Antonio really was. Donatella tells a story about her brother, Gianni Versace, and knows he started from the bottom. His first store was in Milan, Italy, which looks like a warehouse to me. Which to me looked like a warehouse. On Via della Sega. Their mother Franca was proud. Remember, their mother was the dressmaker. And those words came into mind. Those words stick with me for a long time. She says he was a creator. He was a collector. He was a genius. That man sure was a genius. Then the family attorney speaks for the family and thank all the people what they respect. Then they mention that Gianni haven't knew or heard of any contact with Andrew, which is kind of a lie. You shouldn't make this seem like he's a saint. Meanwhile, at the house of the pawn shop owner, Vivian Oliva, she immediately called the police because they saw the news about because she saw the news of Andrew Cunanan, the man shot by Andrew, so she called the police about this dude. Detective was at her store. She showed the coin that she gave him money for, and she showed him the papers that has the address. Lori called for the backup. I don't know what she called for, but she says they have an address. Donatella learned that Versace would be the first Italian designer to list his company, both Moulin Rouge and the New York Exchange. Centos think that they should go ahead, but Donatella have her reasons not to do it because she knows how cruel the world could be, and she decided to make the company still be a family, which got me going. Way to go, way to go. Because when something happened to your family like that, it's hard to trust people when something cruel could happen to somebody in your life, and you don't want to see nobody get hurt, nobody in your family. You don't want to see this business get hurt, the business that you work so hard for. So now they want to send a SWAT. So now all of a sudden they send a SWAT team over to a hotel where Andy used to stay at. I'm like, don't send a SWAT team now. Andy ought to be gone by now. I think that was a waste of time because, they would have been sent the guys after him by now. They would have been sent him. Now that this man is dead, now you want to go out there. Now you want to send a SWAT team. It's too late now. And they bust up in Ronnie's room. Ronnie's room was 205. Andy was staying in 222. Andy must have put that address up there. Lori pushed through to see who he was. Of course, it was Ronnie. She showed a poster to Ronnie. Do you know him? Do you know him? He's like, no. Next thing you know, Andrew is walking down the street wearing bright yellow clothes. As bright as my pen right here. As bright as this sun. I can't imagine being a fugitive under one and still wearing bright ass clothes. And then he ended up buying newspapers about the murder of Gianni Versace. I don't know, man. I think this is stupid. So now that this man is dead, now all of a sudden everybody wants to step up and look for this dude. The only person that made an effort was this black dude from the restaurant. Even he tried, and the cops still couldn't catch him. So now they gotta go back to square one. Now they're gonna pass out flyers this time. I don't know. You guys tell me what you think. I don't know. I think this episode is kind of weird. And the thing about the show is they have these episodes backwards, which I don't understand why they couldn't start it from the beginning. Alright, I'm gonna talk to you later. And I hope you enjoy my review. Love you all and good night.